the idea I had originally was a stage play, which is something that I still want to develop, but I also think that it could work as a radio play.
Wicked.
Because it's got a very everyday, ongoing feel. So the idea came about at a time in my life where I'd actually lost a relative, and I kind of...
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And yeah, I kind of put all my... it was a very cathartic experience for me, so I put all my emotions into it. And from that came this idea, which is based on real people who have been entered onto the Tory government's work programme.
Tell us a bit about this Tory government work programme, because I've heard of it, but I've got mixed reception of it myself.
Okay, so what it is, people who fall out of work for a period longer than 6 months are entered onto a I think it's over a few weeks, over a few months maximum, work programme where it's the whole idea is to get people back into work. But I'm a bit sceptical about that. I think there are positives and negatives about that. Some people it works for and it is successful, but for other people it doesn't lead into long-term employment. And I'm just kind of exploring the idea of people from very different backgrounds being put together into a quite confined environment with people that they don't know, and they don't necessarily gel at first. But I think the world in which we live in at the moment, there's so much hate and people being pulled apart. It's a great message that actually people who are different can come together despite religion, despite differences, and we can live in a harmonious environment. So this story is based on real people and their experiences and the turbulence of life.
Okay, I've got a little ditty for you,
Okay.
because I'm allegedly a poet.
Okay.
Coexistence, the
Right.
ultimate art form, is tantamount to survival in an ever-changing universe. Do you coexist?
Well, yeah, I'd like to say I do. Yeah, elaborate a little bit more on that. I'm very interested by that.
I put it together and I had an ever-changing world as opposed to ever-changing universe. And I said the poem to a friend of mine, and he went, "Ooh, that's deep." And then he said, "But that applies to the universe, not just this world." And being a poet, we're all egoistical. I thought, I'm not changing it from world to universe. I like worlds because I made it up, I suppose. But when I went away and I thought about it, and I was out the back garden, and it was a lovely day like this a couple of years ago, and I was watching. First of all, I saw these little tiny gnats. Then I saw these birds chasing the gnats and eating them. And then I was looking at swallows, swifts, seagulls, and I realised that everything coexists. Whether they're friendly or not, they rely on each other to survive. So I think the idea which you have is very current, especially with all of the... there seems to be a lot of wars all over the place, and I often wonder whether Bob Marley was a bit of a prophet, because he said so much trouble in the world, and I've been looking at it ever since, and it's just pure mayhem. So tell us a bit more about some of the characters, please, if you would, Danielle.
Okay, so like I said before, the characters are based on real people, and they're from very different backgrounds. So we've got one character who is French Moroccan, we've got another character who is from Ely. So from many different parts, many different backgrounds. We've also got a character who is on the autism spectrum. So it's very diverse. I mean, I'm very diverse. I've got a very diverse ethnic background.
What is your ethnic background, if you don't
Wow,
mind?
okay. So there's Welsh, there's Jordanian, there's Somalian, there's Argentinian, and there is German. And a little bit of Irish, and that's always good because we always need a little bit of luck in life. So,
Well, I've got a couple of those in my heritage. My nana was from Waterford.
okay,
My grandfather was from Antigua. My father's from Dominica. My mother's born and bred in Wales. So I think we're all one of Heinz varieties in many ways.
Absolutely,
I don't think there's any such thing as somebody who's strictly one. nationality, because over the years we've all got different aspects of
Mhm.
our families in us, you know.
We definitely do, and I think, you know, once you get to grips with that, I think people will come together more, you know, because actually there is more in life that we are similar with than what is trying to tear us apart. I think, you know, if we look at all the hate in the world, I think there's two things that you need love and compassion.
And you need to be really honest as well about it, because
Yeah.
what I have realised, I came to this conclusion about the Arab and the Israeli conflict.
Mhm.
I was looking at our son, and he was young, and I thought to myself, I wouldn't want anyone to harm my son, so I wouldn't harm anyone else's son or daughter. And I came to this conclusion. I would say to somebody who I really hated, look, I'll stay on that side of the road, and you stay on that side of the road, not for me and you, but for our children,
Yeah.
because I don't believe it's healthy for children to be growing up in a hostile environment, especially when we've got global warming and many other pressing
We do.
issues, you know.
Exactly, and I think that mentality that you've got, thinking about your children and thinking about the future generation, is definitely what we need. I think if you look at everything that's happened over the last year in terms of politics, you know, I think the turnout in the vote this time with more young people voting, it's been fantastic, because I think what happened with the Brexit, we didn't see the young generation turn out and vote, and maybe that reflected in the decision, the voting decision, and what came to be. So I think that's great, you know, to think ahead for your children. If more people thought like that, you know, maybe we could coexist and live in a more harmonious environment.
I want you youngsters to take over the world, because I look at, you know, and I'm not being anti-Tory or anti-anybody, because I'm very sad to say, I believe the way politics are in Britain at the moment, they're all very much of a muchness, you know.
Agree.
And Ariana Grande,
That's it. Yeah.
you've done that concert
Yeah.
for the tragedy in Manchester. That gave me a bit of inspiration and made me feel brighter in a very negative world. So I'd like all of you youngsters to keep on doing what you're doing and become politicised and take over, because we've had our day. It's your turn.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Danielle, and hopefully we'll have you on again. And God bless.
Fantastic.
And
Thank
there
you
you
very
go.
much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
And we're going to carry on with track 8, which is Precious Metal from 4 Plays